Hello and welcome. We are live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour. Israel reduces troops in South Gaza, leaving just one brigade. Egypt State TV says progress made in discussions in Cairo through talks. IAEA condemns drone attack on Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant, says attacks significantly increase accident risk. Election campaign picks momentum for parliamentary polls in India. Top leaders of various political parties to hold multiple rallies and road shows to garner support for their candidates. A total solar eclipse is set to occur on Monday. Mexico, US and Canada to witness solar eclipse will not be visible from the Indian subcontinent. All right, news in detail now. We'll start with the updates on Israel-Hamas conflict. Israel on Sunday said it had withdrawn more soldiers from southern Gaza, leaving just one brigade in the area. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said the troops were leaving to prepare for their follow-up missions. Gallant said the achievements in Khan Yunis were extremely impressive, adding that Hamas had ceased to function as a military organization throughout Gaza. Take a listen.
The forces are exiting and preparing for their next missions. We saw examples of such missions in the Shifa operation and also of their coming mission in the Rafah area.
The US says the Israeli military's troop reduction in the southern Gaza Strip appears to be a rest and refit and not necessarily indicative of any new operations for these troops. In an interview to the news channel, White House National Security spokesperson John Kirby reiterated the United States' position against any ground military operation in Rafah. Kirby's remarks came as Israel's military announced it had withdrawn its forces from Khan Yunis and bringing its troop presence in the territory to one of the lowest levels since the 6-month conflict began. Now, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel was one step away from victory, quote-unquote. Marking the 6 months of the conflict, Netanyahu said Israel would not agree to a ceasefire until the hostages being held in Gaza are released. Netanyahu said that despite growing international pressure, Israel would not give in to extreme demands from terror group Hamas, which sparked the conflict on October 7 with its deadly attack on southern Israel.
I made it clear to the international community there will be no ceasefire without the return of hostages. It just won't happen. This is the policy of the Israeli government, and I welcome the fact that the Biden administration made it clear 2 days ago that this is still its position as well. I would like to clarify one more thing. Israel is not the one preventing a deal. Hamas prevents a deal. Israel is ready for a deal. Israel is not ready to surrender.
Now, the progress has been made in discussions in Cairo on a truce in the Israel-Hamas conflict, and there is agreement on the basic points between all parties involved. According to Egypt state-affiliated Al Qahira News, Hamas and Qatar's delegations left Cairo and will return within 2 days to agree on the terms of the final agreement, while the Israeli and the US delegations left the Egyptian capital later on Sunday. It added that consultations were ongoing during the next 48 hours. And Hamas reiterated on Sunday the demands including a permanent ceasefire, the withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza, a return of the displaced and an exchange of Palestinian prisoners for Israeli hostages being held in Gaza. Now, Iraq agreed on Sunday to send 10 million litres of fuel to the Gaza in support of Palestinian people. Iraq's Prime Minister Mohammad Shia al-Sudani in a statement said that Iraq also agreed to receive wounded Palestinians from Gaza and provide them treatment in the government and private hospitals. The lack of fuel has crippled hospitals, water systems, bakeries and relief operations in the Strip. Now, thousands of protesters rallied in Jerusalem on Sunday demanding the release of around 130 hostages still held in Gaza after 6 months of conflict. Freed hostages, relatives of those still in Hamas captivity and parents of slain soldiers all spoke at the Sunday night demonstrations in Jerusalem. Crowds thronging Jerusalem's Kaplan Street carried signs and photos of those kidnapped by Hamas and wearing the iconic yellow ribbon symbolic of the hostages' plight in front of a Knesset lit up in yellow in their honor. While some hostage parents at Sunday's rally called on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to do more to bring home the hostages, speakers largely kept messages apolitical, focusing on the pain and the urgent need to get their loved ones home. Now, alongside the estimated 50,000 participants who demonstrated outside the Knesset, thousands more people gathered for rallies with relatives of captives in cities across the West, including New York, Berlin, London and Washington, D.C. Hundreds gathered in New York City over the weekend demanding the release of hostages still held by Hamas in Gaza. The demonstration and supporting rallies worldwide came as Israel and Hamas both dispatched delegations to Cairo for a fresh round of talks. Now, former U.S. President Donald Trump has, according to his campaign, raised more than $50 million in one night at a Florida fundraiser. As a Washington correspondent, Jagruti Dave reports, Trump is still playing catch-up on campaign finances with his rival Joe Biden, even though this latest haul is twice what Biden raised at a New York event last month.
This apparently record-breaking fundraiser was hosted by billionaire John Paulson at his Palm Beach home on Saturday. Donald Trump is courting major donors to try and bridge the funding gap between himself and his rival, the US President Joe Biden. According to Mr. Biden's campaign, he went into April with $192 million. That's compared to Donald Trump's $93.1 million. Now, Donald Trump gave a 45-minute speech at this event to an audience of almost 120 people. That's according to some people who were there. And some attendees reportedly donated $814,600 for the event. According to a campaign spokesperson, Donald Trump spoke about issues including immigration, energy, and he called on Joe Biden to debate him. What else do we know about the event? Melania Trump, the former First Lady, was there, as were Donald Trump's former Republican rivals, Vivek Ramaswamy and Senator Tim Scott. And of course, on the dinner menu, we've got a bit of information. There was filet au poivre and a pavlova with fresh berries. Jagruti Dave in Washington, reporting for DD India.
An engine cover, also called a cowling, on a Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-800 fell off on Sunday during takeoff in Denver and struck in the wing flap. No one was injured and Southwest Flight 3695 returned safely to Denver International Airport, but the incident has prompted the U.S. Federal Aviation Agency to open an investigation. The Boeing aircraft, bound for Houston Hobby Airport with 141 people aboard, rose to an elevation of about 10,300 feet before returning. The US, Britain and Australia are set to begin talks on bringing new members into the AUKUS security pact as Washington pushes for Japan to be involved as a deterrent against China. The country's defense ministers will announce discussions on Monday on Pillar 2 of the pact, which commits the members to jointly developing quantum computing, undersea, hypersonic, artificial intelligence and cyber technology. The Financial Times reported on Saturday, citing people familiar with the situation. AUKUS, formed by the three countries in 2021, is part of the efforts to push back against China's growing power in the Indo-Pacific region. China has called the AUKUS pact dangerous and warned it could spur a regional arms race. All right, let's go across to DD India's Laura Westbrook. She is joining us live from Hong Kong. Laura, the AUKUS, Australia, the United Kingdom and United States, the members are set to start talks on bringing new members on board. Tell us, what do we expect in the discussions?
Yes, so this is a trilateral security pact for the Indo-Pacific region, as you mentioned, to help counter the growing influence of China in that region. It involves the US, Britain and Australia. And those three countries' defense ministers, they are expected to start talks on inviting in new members to look at collaboration on this second pillar. So this involves the second pillar of the pact, and that is all around collaboration around technology, such as collaborating around hypersonic weapons. They won't be discussing bringing in new members to the first pillar, and that is all about helping Australia acquire nuclear submarines. Now, the US President Joe Biden, he will be hosting the Japanese Prime Minister Kishida at the White House on Wednesday, and that's where we are likely expecting that talks could take place.
No, but Laura, why is Japan in the talks to be the new member of AUKUS, and what has been the reaction from Japan, if you could tell us?
Yes, so Japan came up and speculation started mounting after the US ambassador to Tokyo, Rahm Emanuel, said that Japan would be a second pillar, the first ever second pillar addition. And that's sort of when Japan got brought up. The Japanese Prime Minister Kishida was asked about this in an interview, and he said no formal announcement had been made. An Australian spokesman also said that this was a decision that would have to be made trilaterally and then announced. But Japan is a very critical ally to all three countries, all three members of this pact, and Japan has been spending quite heavily in its defense spending, and so the thinking was that Japan could be helped to kind of spread the costs around. But there have been reports, according to the Financial Times, that Australia and Britain do have some concerns about bringing Japan in right now, one of which is that Japan really needs to up its security, specifically its cybersecurity investments before being brought on.
All right, Laura. Also, you spoke about Pillar 1 and Pillar 2. Apart from that, why do you think, they are considering to expand the security pact, the three countries, AUKUS, and what is the need, according to you?
Yes, so reportedly the US is keen on this, and this is a security pact that is all about deterring the growing influence of China in the Indo-Pacific region. So, China, as soon as this pact was announced, it was announced in 2021, China has warned against it. It says that it fosters a Cold War mentality and that it could even spur a regional arms race. But China has also been increasing tensions. There have been tensions increasing between China and the US over the South China Sea. And in the US, there will be an historic summit between the US, Japan, and the Philippines this week as well. So you can really see the US is potentially trying to bring in allies to counter support against the growing expansion of China, particularly in this very hotly contested area of the South China Sea.
All right, Laura, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your views on AUKUS Security Pact. All right, still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Mexico says it will file a complaint against Ecuador at the International Court of Justice following the raid on its embassy in Quito. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov will be on a two-day visit to China. And people around the world prepare to celebrate Eid al-Fitr.
The land of Dravidians, Tamil Nadu goes to polls in one go. How will the National Party's alliance face the political heat with the regional satraps? What are the issues that could find resonance among the voters as India decides? Will the vote share increase help the national parties get a foothold in the minds of the people? Watch why Tamil Nadu matters on the Great Indian Election at 8:30 p.m. IST and 1500 hours GMT, only on TV India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Some more stories. Mexico's diplomatic personnel are leaving Ecuador after the two countries sever ties. This comes after a growing rift between Mexico and Ecuador, which had been going on for days and culminated on Friday after Mexico granted political asylum to Ecuadorian Vice President Jorge Glass. The raid has prompted criticism across Latin America, the United States, Honduras, Spain, the European Union. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres also condemned Ecuador's decision, saying that it violates the sanctity of diplomatic and consular property. Spain and the European Union joined the United Nations chief and Latin American countries in criticizing Quito for the raid. Now, Mexico said it will file a complaint against Ecuador at the International Court of Justice following the raid on its embassy in Quito. Mexican diplomatic personnel left Ecuador on Sunday as the two countries sever ties. Mexico Foreign Minister Alicia Bárcena welcomed the return of its embassy personnel and lashed out at Ecuador's raid on the embassy and praised the diplomatic staff for defending the embassy. Alicia Bárcena said at the event to welcome the diplomats home that we are going to the ICJ, where we are presenting this sad case, and we believe that we can win this case quickly, quote unquote. Now, UN's atomic watchdog agency IAEA has condemned a Ukrainian drone strike on one of 6 nuclear reactors at the Russian-controlled Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in Ukraine. In a statement on the social media platform X, Rafael Grossi confirmed at least 3 direct hits against the ZNPP main reactor containment structures took place. He added such attacks significantly increased the risk of a major nuclear accident. Grossi said it was the first such attack since November 2022, when he set out 5 basic principles to avoid a serious nuclear accident with radiological consequences. In a separate statement, the IAEA confirmed physical impact of drone attacks at the plant, including at one of its 6 reactors. UN's atomic watchdog agency said the damage at Unit 6 has not compromised nuclear safety, but this is a serious incident with potential to undermine integrity of the reactor's containment system. The power plant has been caught in the crossfire since Moscow sent troops into Ukraine in 2022 and seized the facility shortly after. The IAEA has repeatedly expressed alarm about the nuclear power plant, Europe's largest, amid fears of a potential nuclear catastrophe. Both Ukraine and Russia have regularly accused the other of attacking the plant, which is still close to the front lines. Now, Russia's nuclear power corporation Rosatom accused Ukraine's military on Sunday of launching a series of attacks on the Russian-held Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station, and the UN's nuclear watchdog called for such incidents to cease immediately. A Rosatom statement said the first strike on the plant hit an area near a canteen, injuring the 3 staff members. Within a half hour, it said a drone had attacked a cargo loading area and another drone subsequently struck the dome of the 6th reactor. Russia urged world leaders to denounce the incidents. Both Russian officials and the UN's International Atomic Energy Agency said radiation levels were normal and damage not severe. A Ukrainian intelligence official said Kiev had nothing to do with any strikes on the station. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky on Sunday said that the world must finally hear the pain inflicted on Kharkiv and other cities by Russian attacks. On Saturday, 8 people were killed and at least 10 were injured in 2 Russian strikes on Ukraine's second-largest city, Kharkiv. In his nightly video address, Zelensky thanked the countries that had already contributed and said there were defense systems in the world that can help.
There are air defense systems in the world that can help. All we need is the political will to transfer these systems to Ukraine. I thank those countries that have already contributed. It is the personal responsibility of our diplomats to be active in this task, work in areas and countries that possesses essential systems. At the moment, Patriots should be used in Ukraine so that they would not have to be used across NATO's entire eastern flank in the future.
And one woman died after shelling in the outskirts of Russian-controlled Makivka city in the Donetsk region on Sunday. Makivka has been controlled by pro-Russian self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic since 2014 and has come under shelling numerous times. Now, the Sayan Range March Snowfield Combat and March competition opened on Saturday in Russia. It is part of the International Army Games with 9 teams from 7 countries including China and Iran in attendance. On the first day, the teams competed in 6 disciplines such as avalanche search and rescue, casualty delivery and group firing. The Chinese People's Liberation Army dispatched a men's team and a women's team to the competition. The 2-stage competition will last for 2 days and 1 night, during which each team member is required to complete 12 courses and march more than 50 kilometers in the snowfield. The final score will be calculated based on the time spent on finishing the task and penalty points. Now, Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov will be on a 2-day visit to China on Monday and Tuesday. Lavrov will discuss the Russia-Ukraine conflict and deepening partnership between Moscow and Beijing with Chinese counterpart Wang Yi. Now, the China Coast Guard on Sunday claimed that Philippine vessels trespassed into waters adjacent to the Hoteng Reef in the South China Sea. The Chinese Coast Guard released a video that showed several Filipino fishing vessels fishing at waters surrounding the Hoteng Reef, where Filipino official vessels were also present. A China Coast Guard spokesman said in a statement that the Philippines organized multiple vessels to conduct illegal activities in the waters adjacent to the Hoteng Reef of China's Nansha Islands. Earlier on Saturday, the Philippines said 2 Chinese Coast Guard vessels harassed Filipino fishing vessels within Manila's exclusive economic zone in the South China Sea. The Philippines and China had several maritime run-ins last month that included the use of water cannon and heated verbal exchanges, which have triggered concern about an escalation at the sea. South Korea's defense ministry said on Monday that country's second domestically made spy satellite was successfully put into orbit. The satellite was launched from an American space center on a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. The launch, which comes after Seoul's first spy satellite, was put into orbit from California's Vandenberg Space Force Base in December, was live-streamed on social media platforms X and YouTube. The Falcon 9 rocket was launched at 23:17 GMT on Sunday, and the satellite successfully separated from the launch vehicle 45 minutes later and entered its targeted orbit, the ministry said in a statement. It made successful communications with a ground station about 2 hours and 40 minutes after the launch. Seoul's second spy satellite is equipped with a synthetic aperture radar capable of producing images regardless of weather conditions due to how it processes data. The back-to-back launches of reconnaissance satellite come amid a race against North Korea for military capabilities in space. Former Thai Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra is scheduled to meet with the public prosecutor on April 10th to hear the Attorney General's decision on whether to indict him on a less majestic case. The complaint made by the military that ousted his sister Yingluck Shinawatra's government stems from an interview Thaksin gave while in exile in 2015. Insulting the monarchy is a serious offence and a major slur in Thailand, where the constitution states the king must be held in a position of revered worship. Hundreds of people have been prosecuted in recent years under Thailand's less majesty law, which is among the world's strictest and carries a maximum jail sentence of up to 15 years for each perceived royal insult. Now, Argentina is facing an insect repellent shortage as the country prepares for its worst ever dengue season. According to a report, mosquito repellents have been sold out in virtually all of the stores across the capital city of Buenos Aires. The repellents are being sold for exorbitant prices online, in some cases as much as 10 times the retail price. More than 120,000 cases of dengue have been recorded so far in 23-24 season. Rampart hoarding and surging prices of repellents have stoked desperation among the citizens. The government in Argentina, which is already battling sky-high inflation levels, was forced to intervene. The authorities have lifted import restrictions on foreign-made mosquito repellents to boost supply and announced they would ramp up production at local labs. As total solar eclipse is set to occur on Monday, locals and tourists in Mexico are getting prepped to witness the celestial phenomena. The eclipse is set to commence over the South Pacific Ocean, with the first point of contact on continental North America being Mexico's Pacific coast at approximately 11:07 a.m. Banners advertising the astronomical event were seen across the city, drawing astronomers and scientists alongside enthusiastic locals. While eclipse enthusiasts who traveled to Texas on Sunday to witness the solar eclipse expressed concerns that bad weather could ruin the astronomical spectacle.
We came down here for the eclipse. We're keeping our fingers crossed for the weather.
I've been looking for the weather forecast. I'm really hopeful that today it's going to be a very good day. You know, I really have high hopes.
I got the certified safety eyewear. I got UV filters for my camera. Of course, I'm hoping for clear skies so we can see the event in totality.
Right, weather news now. Following the floods caused by the breach of Ours Dam by Europe's third longest river, at least 10,000 homes are affected and thousands are forced to evacuate as flood waters began to rise in two cities in Russia's Ural Mountains on Sunday. Russia introduced a federal emergency situation in the southern Orenburg region, where the Ural River has flooded Orsk and now threatens the main city. While residents of Kurgan city are also ordered to evacuate urgently. Torrential rain caused the dam to burst Friday night, with authorities saying more heavy rainfall will cause water levels to continue to rise. As Storm Kathleen causes disruption across Ireland and the United Kingdom, a second yellow warning for heavy rain and localized flooding are put in place by the Weather Department in British Isles. Earlier, Storm Kathleen also disrupted flights and restrictions were in place on railway lines and ferry services. More waves were expected on Sunday night, with the island's Met Office issuing a yellow weather warning for overtopping waves around parts of the island's coast. Greece on Sunday raised its wildfire alert level to high risk after dozens of blazes broke out on Sunday. The fire spread across the mountainous forest east of the seaside town of Lera Petra, forcing authorities to order the precautionary evacuation of villages in the area. According to the fire department, firefighters raced all night on Saturday and managed to bring under control a wildfire on the island of Crete, Greece, that forced dozens to flee their homes. All right, now Muslims around the world will soon bid farewell to the Islamic holy month of Ramadan and start celebrating the holiday of Eid al-Fitr. Eid is marked with congregational prayers and festivities that typically include family visits, gatherings and new clothes. Eid is an Islamic holiday marking the end of Ramadan, the month when devout Muslims fast daily from dawn to sunset. Ramadan is a time of increased worship, charity and good deeds. With Eid al-Fitr around the corner, people in Bangladesh continue to leave cities to celebrate with their families. Passengers in large numbers were seen rushing to Dhaka railway station, bus and launch terminals to avoid last-hour hassle and chaos. Various stretches of the highway reported long queues of vehicles leaving Dhaka. According to an estimate, around 15 million people, two-thirds of Greater Dhaka inhabitants, may travel to other parts of Bangladesh to celebrate this festival. Now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Flamingo Reserve fears the site may soon end if Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner proceeds with plans to build a tourist resort in the area near the town of Flora. The projects may boost local economies by enticing visitors, but locals oppose that it will harm the environment and Belgrade's cultural significance. The European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg, France, will hand out rulings on 3 separate climate cases where applicants have argued that government inaction on climate change violates human rights. It was the first case heard in March 2023 when thousands of elderly Swiss women argued that their government's woefully inadequate efforts to fight global warming violate their human rights. Well, that's still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Election fever grips India with parties scrambling to secure victory. PM Modi to hold rallies in Maharashtra and Chhattisgarh. Parivartan Chintan, a tri-service conference by the Indian Army, is going to be held in New Delhi today, aims to propel integration efforts amongst the armed forces. And the iconic Qutub Minar lit up on Sunday, marking the UN International Day of Reflection on the 1994 genocide against Tutsi in Rwanda.
India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibility. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday 8 p.m. only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Now recap of what we have done so far. Israel reduces troops in South Gaza, leaving just one brigade. Egypt State TV says progress made in discussions in Cairo through talks. IAEA condemns drone attack on Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, says attacks significantly increase accident risk. Election campaign picks momentum for parliamentary polls in India. Top leaders of various political parties to hold multiple rallies and road shows to garner support for their candidates. A total solar eclipse is set to occur on Monday. Mexico, US and Canada to witness solar eclipse will not be visible from the Indian subcontinent. Now let's get to the latest on the world's largest democratic elections in India. Now, the upcoming general elections have ignited a wave of political activity across India, with parties scrambling to secure victory. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, after a day of campaigning in eastern states of Bihar and West Bengal, will now hold public meetings in Maharashtra's Chandrapur and Chhattisgarh's Bastar. All right, let's go across to Mumbai, where DD India's Shishir Shelar is joining us live. Shishir, PM Modi will address a public rally in Maharashtra, Chandrapur district, kickstarting the Lok Sabha election campaigning in the state for the BJP. And this is one state where a tough fight is expected by the opposition parties too.
Well, absolutely, Abhishek. The Prime Minister will be starting his campaigning, especially in Maharashtra, from today, and even that too from the Chandrapur parliamentary constituency. Chandrapur is quite important one from the perspective because last time in 2019, the Congress has won the seat, and that's the reason this time around BJP is actually trying its more power to get the seat here, and that's the reason the first election rally of Prime Minister in Maharashtra is starting from Chandrapur parliamentary constituency. Now, talking about the Chandrapur constituency, the BJP has contested Sudhir Mungantiwar as the candidate. Mr. Mungantiwar is actually the environment minister in Maharashtra and has almost 20 decades of experience in politics. Against him, Congress has fielded Pratibha Dhanurkar. Now, Pratibha Dhanurkar is a wife of a late parliamentarian from Congress who won the seat last time, Balu Dhanurkar. And that's the reason she is also contesting election this time around against Mr. Mungantiwar. And that's the reason it's going to be a very close fight between both of them. But as far as experience-wise, if you look at the candidature, it probably seems that Mr. Sudhir Mungantiwar has more experience in politics, and that's the reason now it's quite interesting to see that who will win this battle. Well, talking about the political issues, especially in Chandrapur and particularly in Vidarbha region, then Chandrapur is known for its industrialization, and that's the reason we have seen here that various mining factories here. We've also seen the power corporations and of course the cement factories have been working here since last a few decades here, and that's the reason a lot of job creation the Chandrapur constituency has seen. But apart from job creation, the second important focus is of course on agriculture, and that's the reason the irrigation projects is actually an important aspect for the election here, because most of the farmers, particularly from these regions, are actually asking for better irrigation facilities here. Maharashtra's biggest irrigation project, the Gosikhurd project, is also situated in Chandrapur district, and that's the reason now it's quite important to see that how both the candidates from BJP as well as from Congress will take up this issue and will go in front of the voters here. Well, the Prime Minister will arrive here, when he address the rallies here. Now all the eyes set on what exactly Prime Minister will talk about all these issues here and how he tackle these issues, because we have seen a good fan base of Prime Minister here in Chandrapur district as well, and in entire Vidarbha region. And that's the reason not just Chandrapur constituency, even the other adjoining constituency, that is Gadchiroli-Chimur constituency, will also go for the poll in the first phase. We'll also see some of the public coming in from Gadchiroli to listen Prime Minister in Chandrapur. Now talking about the Gadchiroli constituency, Abhishek, this is one constituency which has been affected because of Naxalism since past many years. Well, the current government have actually taken many steps to contend these areas here, and that's the reason various activities have been taken here. On one hand, the government is actually using forces also, but on the other hand, the government is also focusing on development of the Gadchiroli region and how these people are going to get the benefit and they can bring to the mainstream. So this is a double action that probably government is working on, especially in the Gadchiroli region. So that's the reason this eastern Vidarbha region of Maharashtra is quite important political hotbed at this point in time. And BJP and Congress, both of them trying hard to get the candidature to win this vote.
Shishir, also, I mean, you have spoken about the issues of the people, and also you're saying that PM will come again. He's expected to hold at least 10 rallies in the state. Tell us, why do you think Maharashtra holds great significance for the BJP?
Well, absolutely. If you look at the number-wise game, then probably after the Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra has 48 seats of parliamentary constituency, and that's the reason this is second important kind of state, we can say, from the parliamentary constituency election is concerned. Well, BJP and as well as Congress is also trying hard here. What we have seen today in Maharashtra, there are two important faction is actually battling against each other. One is NDA, which comprises BJP, Shiv Sena, and the NCP. On the other hand, in India Alliance, that is also called the Mahavikas Agadi, has the Congress, Sharad Pawar, NCP, and Uddhav Balasaheb Thackeray's Shiv Sena. So these two major factions that actually contesting election this time around, and that's the reason we have seen quite a different kind of polarization in the state here, because though leaders actually was working in a different party, now actually contesting election from the different party. So obviously the political equation has changed in Maharashtra, and that's the reason it's quite unpredictable to see what kind of results we're going to see in Maharashtra, and that's the reason it's quite important one to look after. The second important aspect, as I told you, that as far as the number games are concerned, because BJP actually trying hard to get the maximum number from Maharashtra as well. Last time we have seen that the BJP has almost got 40 plus seats of parliamentary seats in Maharashtra. This time around their target is 45 plus seats out of 48. And that's the reason all the aligned partners in NDA as well as in India trying hard to grab the maximum seats.
All right, Shishir, we'll leave it here for the time being, but we'll keep taking updates from you. Moving on to our next story now. India's Home Minister Amit Shah will be kicking off his poll campaign in Assam. He will hold a meeting in the Biswanath district. Assam comprises of 14 constituencies and will be voting in 3 phases, 1, 2 and 3 of the elections. And India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will begin his campaign in Tamil Nadu and will be there for 2 days. Tamil Nadu will vote in first phase of elections, that is on 19th April, and will be contested on 39 seats. Now, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi is scheduled to hold 2 rallies in Madhya Pradesh. Rahul Gandhi will campaign in Mandla and Shahdol districts and will be his first visit to Madhya Pradesh after the announcement of election dates. Madhya Pradesh will vote in 4 phases 1, 2, 3 and 4 on April 19th, 26th, May 7 and 13 respectively. The central state of India accounts for 29 seats in general elections. And Congress leader Sachin Pilot is also scheduled to address election public meetings in state of Rajasthan. He will be visiting Sikar, Jhunjhunu, Jaipur Rural and Alwar. Aam Aadmi Party national leader and Delhi government minister Atishi will be making her mark in Assam campaign starting from Monday. And today will also be the last day for the candidates eligible for the second phase of the election to withdraw their nomination papers. The second phase of elections will be on April 26th and will see 89 Indian Parliament constituencies go to the polls. All right, let's go across to India's Debyendu Mondal. He is joining us live from Delhi. Debyendu, rallies continue and last day for withdrawal of nominations for the second phase in election. Fill us in with more details.
Well, good morning, Abhishek. That's absolutely right. Today is the last day for the withdrawal of nomination for the second phases. But in an election like this, in a general election, which covers, it's a pan-India election, so we'll see very few candidates withdrawing their nominations. But it is the first majority of all the big parties, which includes the national as well as the regional political parties, do participate in this election. And smaller parties or parties which are limited to smaller zones do not generally participate in a big election like that of, the general election or the Lok Sabha election. So therefore, we'll see less of a withdrawal this time around. But of course, the campaigning, of course, for both the first and the second phase have picked up momentum across the country. And, prime ministers, as well as all the union ministers that comprises from the party of the BJP are campaigning across. Even the opposition parties have picked up their campaigning momentum across the country, and we'll see much more enthusiasm, campaigning and participation from different political parties across the country as the dates to the first and the second phase, which is on the 19th and the 29th, pick momentum from here on. So, of course, it's an interesting time. It's a festival of democracy. We'll see much vibrant, colorful campaigning by different political parties as well as regional parties here in India. So, of course, interesting times ahead. Back to you, Abhishek.
Right. Debyendu, also with just 10 days ahead of the biggest democratic battle, literally, first phase on 19th April. Tell us, how is the political scenario shaping overall?
First phase of election are in states. In fact, it is the largest phase of election where we'll see more than 107 constituencies going to polls at one stretch from across 17 states and union territories combined. So, of course, this is the first phase is, of course, one of the largest phases. So, we'll see we are, in fact, witnessing much more, enthusiastic campaigns by all the political parties across the country. So some of the important states that are going to poll in the first phase is, of course, parts of the southern India, where we see a whole chunk of Tamil Nadu going to poll in a single phase. And the ruling BJP here at the center is hoping to make a significant mark into the Tamil Nadu politics. And if not seats, they're hoping to increase their vote share from the state of Tamil Nadu. We also see parts of Rajasthan, Maharashtra, the whole of Uttarakhand going to polls in the first phase. So we'll see, in fact, we are witnessing much more aggressive campaigning by all political parties in these states. And in fact, 17th will be the last day.
An India Met Department predicted light to moderate rainfall accompanied by thunderstorms and hailstorms over east central and peninsular India for the next 4 days. Scattered to fairly widespread moderate rainfall will occur over various regions, including Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, West Bengal, Odisha and Maharashtra till Thursday. All right, still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. In Indian Premier League, Lucknow Super Giants defeat Gujarat Titans by 33 runs. Liverpool couldn't go past Manchester United in Premier League clash. And Britain Raskok successfully completes monumental journey across Africa.
The land of Dravidians, Tamil Nadu goes to polls in one go. How will the National Party's alliance face the political heat with the regional satraps? What are the issues that could find resonance among the voters as India decides? Will the vote share increase help the national parties get a foothold in the minds of the people? Watch Why Tamil Nadu Matters on the Great Indian Election at 8:30 p.m. IST and 1500 hours GMT only on TD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. We'll focus on business news now. Asian shares started the week on a subdued note on Monday, while dollar firmed as investors wait when the US Federal Reserve will start cutting rates in the wake of yet another blowout jobs report. Global crude oil prices fell nearly 2% and gold prices slumped 1% after scaling record high on Friday as US Treasury yields remain elevated. MSCI's broadest index of Asia-Pacific shares outside Japan was 0.26% higher, while Tokyo's Nikkei rose 1%. Whereas China mainland stocks reopened after extended holidays from Thursday, with the blue chip gauge 0.5% lower. Hong Kong's Hang Seng index rose 0.33%. Brazilian Supreme Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes opened an inquiry into Elon Musk for obstruction of justice involving social media company X. According to a court document, Musk is challenging a decision by Moraes ordering his social media platform X to block certain accounts. Musk earlier on Sunday posted that X will lift the restrictions because they were unconstitutional. If X fails to comply with the order to block certain accounts, the company will be fined $19,074 per day. Australia's major supermarkets could face fines of up to 6.6 million if suppliers and growers are not treated fairly, as it proposed to make a voluntary grocery code of conduct mandatory. Under the proposed rule, supermarkets with annual revenue of over $6 million will fall under the mandatory code. That list currently includes Australia's largest independent grocery supplier, Woolworths. The interim government report did not recommend big supermarket operators should be forced to divest assets to improve competition. Sports updates now. We'll start with IPL. Lucknow Super Giants defeated Gujarat Titans by 33 runs in the IPL 2024 match at Ekana Cricket Stadium on Sunday. The Gujarat side could not mount a strong chase of 164 and ended at 130 all out as LSG's pacer Yash Thakur took 5 for 30 and spinner Krunal Pandya took 3 for 11. It was the impactful performance of both the bowlers. Yash also became the first bowler in IPL 2024 to bowl a double wicket maiden. For Gujarat, only opener B. Sai Sudarshan could offer some resistance. Earlier, Marcus Stoinis made a fine 50 as LSG made 163 for 5. LSG rode on Stoinis' solid effort to reach a par total. Other contributions came from skipper KL Rahul and Nicholas Pooran. For Gujarat Titans, pacers Umesh Yadav and Darshan Nalkande took 2 wickets apiece. Talking about the second game, Mumbai Indians ended its 3-match losing streak this season after they trounced Delhi Capitals by 29 runs on Sunday in Mumbai to clinch their maiden victory. The hosts posted 234 for the loss of 5 wickets after Romario Shepherd smashed 32 runs in the final over of the T20 match. Shepherd came out of nowhere to slam a 10-ball 39. Shepherd and Tim David added 53 runs in the last 3 overs to help Mumbai Indians set up the imposing total. In reply, Delhi Capitals lost opener David Warner early, though Prithvi Shaw and Abhishek Porel added 88 runs to keep the visitors in the hunt, but other batters failed to measure up to the challenge. Jasprit Bumrah snapped up both Shaw and Porel to put the brakes on Capitals' scoring rate. As the run rate began to mount, Tristan Stubb went ballistic to make 25 balls 71 not out. The right-hander batter smacked as many as 7 sixes and 3 fours, but his effort could only reduce the margin of defeat for Delhi, who lost a flurry of wickets towards the end to finish at 205 for 8. Talking about today's game, defending champions and five-time winners Chennai Super Kings are set to host Kolkata Knight Riders at the M.A. Chidambaram Stadium in Chennai. The two-time IPL champions are second on the table with 3 wins out of 3, while Chennai Super Kings are desperate to get back to winning ways, but they face KKR challenge as they have been a force to reckon with in the ongoing season. After winning the first 2 matches, CSK lost the way and suffered defeat in the last 2 to drop down in the points table. Chennai Super Kings have enjoyed a fairly good run against the Kolkata Knight Riders. KKR too have had their fair share of wins against the men in yellow and have won 3 games at Chepauk. In 28 matches played between the two sides, Chennai have won 18 while KKR have won 10 matches. From cricket to tennis now, Sumit Nagal became the first Indian to enter the Monte Carlo Masters singles main draw in 42 years, beating Facundo Diaz Acosta of Argentina in a 3-setter in the final qualifying round on Sunday. Nagal, ranked 95th in the world, defeated his world number 55 rival 7-5, 2-6, 6-2 in a grueling match that lasted 2 hours and 25 minutes. Nagal will meet world number 35 Matteo Arnaldi of Italy in the first round of the main draw in the clay court tournament. The 26-year-old Nagal was following the footsteps of legendary Ramesh Krishnan, who had made it to the main draw of the same tournament in 1982. Football now. Liverpool squandered the opportunity to return to the top of the Premier League as they were held to a draw in another Old Trafford thriller with Manchester United. Manager Jurgen Klopp and his players paid the price for missing numerous chances, having overrun the host for long periods. Liverpool only had a Luis Diaz strike to show for almost total first half superiority, in which they had 15 shots to none from United. Liverpool now lies second behind leaders Arsenal on goal difference, with Manchester City a point further back in third place. In men's hockey, India went down against Australia 2-4 in the second match of the 5-match series in Perth on Sunday. India led at the half-time 2-1 despite trailing to an early goal. Drag flicks from Jugraj Singh and Harmanpreet Singh put them in a good position, but in the third quarter blitz, the Australians stormed back to score 3 goals. For Australia, Jeremy Havers scored a brace, while Anderson Jacob and Nathan Abrams netted 1 goal each. India now trailed the 5-match hockey test series 0-2 after they were thrashed 5-1 in the opening game. Cycling now, reigning world champion Netherlands Mathieu van der Poel scotched home solo to a second successive victory in the fastest ever edition of Paris-Roubaix, simultaneously becoming the first rider in 11 years to clinch the Tour of Flanders-Roubaix double. Second place in the historic velodrome was Jasper Philipsen for a 1-2 for Alpecin Desuunic, out-sprinting Mats Pedersen in third and Nils Politt fourth. Mathieu van der Poel broke his own record time in the process after a stunning solo attack. And the Dutch world champion pounced 60 kilometers from the finish and went on to beat the mark he set last year by almost 3 minutes. It was his 6th win in a monument, the name given to road cycling's 5 most prestigious one-day races. Golf now. Young Indian-American Akshay Bhatia won Texas Open on Sunday, defeating Denny McCarthy in a sudden death playoff at the end of a dramatic final round of the PGA Tour's Texas Open in San Antonio. Bhatia is now the last qualifier to the Masters, went into the final round with a 4-shot lead, but a remarkable back nine from McCarthy forced a play-off. After months of relentless determination and unwavering commitment, Briton Russ Cook successfully completed his monumental journey across Africa on Sunday. 27-year-old Cook, nicknamed Hardest Giza, embarked on the remarkable journey last April from Cape Agulhas, South Africa, finishing in Ras Angela, Tunisia. Over 352 days, he traversed 16,000 kilometers through 16 countries along Africa's west coast, becoming the first person to run the length of the entire continent. Now, situated in Assam state of India, Kaziranga is a UNESCO World Heritage Sites of India and known for great Indian one-horned rhinoceros and also the Royal Bengal tiger, along with many endangered species. Elephants, wild water buffalo and swamp deer are also found in the park. DD India's Prasar Bharati gives us this report.
So currently we are in the Kaziranga National Park and Tiger Reserve. This is one of India's prominent national park. Approximately 130 tigers are there in this particular park, Tiger Reserve, and also more than 3,600 rhinos are also here. Just to put it across, the conservation efforts are working overtime because they do anti-poaching camp at the same time. Sir, tell us more about the anti-poaching camp. How important it is and how difficult it is at the same time for you guys, frontline workers here. It's not an easy work.
Yeah, it's not easy work. Like we have more than 190 anti-poaching camps inside our park, in the entire Kaziranga National Park. So in every park we have not the numbers is also 2 to 3, 4, 5 staffs we have. We used to do patrolling duties and all to protect the rhinos. That's it.
It is a hard work and dedication of these frontline workers that India currently boasts of such a mix of flora and fauna. As I mentioned, India is home to 2/3 of world's tiger population. It is home to this Kaziranga is home to the single-horn rhinoceros, and it only happens because of this dedication shown by these frontline workers. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been possible. With camera person Rahul Chopra, this is Taposh Bhattacharya for DD India from Kaziranga National Park and Tiger Reserve in Assam.
Well, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly Twitter and Instagram. We will be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.